Why are younger generations so obsessed with broadcasting that they are not straight? I'm loving how you're 26 and calling someone who is 21 the younger generations. Damn kids these days.
I think, like you touched on, it's just what people grasp to these days. Teens and younger people in general are at a point where they're working out their identity and how they connect with others in the world, and so have a big focus on defining their place among others. This comes out in all manner of trends, such as music taste. That's not to say it's not necessarily genuine, but it's how we learn to fit in or stand out from others. One day when sexuality is less contentious and more established in the public consciousness, it'll be something else. Maybe brand of cyber implant, for example.
There's our entire areas of psychology, sociology, etc. that deal with similar topics. Social psychology being one of them. It's absolutely normal for people to form in groups and out-groups. School affiliation, what sports teams you cheer for, what extracurricular activities you participate in, what classes you take, where you hang out on Friday nights, and so many more things define groups in high school. It doesn't change much as you get older, but the defining aspects of grouping becomes less obvious with less structured activity. Adults group based on the neighborhood you live, type of employment, preferred social employment outings, etc.
Like, do you hang out with a ton of people who consider themselves sports people? What about hikers? Bikers? People who go to cocktail bars frequently? People who belong to country clubs? Church people? I don't see a difference in using sexuality as a grouping mechanism versus religion or income. Given the prevalence of discrimination towards certain groups, it's only natural that they choose to group together, and for some exclude others who may not be members of that group.
Everyone looks for a communal identity. There is protection, support, and pride that comes with it. I would say it's the exact same reason why there is Southern pride. I mean, look at Texas and their Texas things. The loudest and most prideful group out there. Just something to give someone reason for being excited to be alive. Edit, I feel like because of my nature and transparency I should include I grew up in Texas and am queer. I love how you say younger generations being 26 and talking about someone only 5 years younger, haha.
We couldn't do it back then. I was outed and was beaten, my car was vandalized, my parents kicked me out at 14 and I was homeless. Never returned home. Thank you for letting us know it's gotten better for the next generation.
Probably the same reason my teen male straight friends were so obsessed with broadcasting who they wanted to fuck. Because it's normal at that age. The only difference between now and back in the day is people were harassed for being gay then. And they're just less harassed now.
You are way more likely to successfully hook up with someone of the same gender if you broadcast that you are open to that idea, since gay people hitting on straights is still not widely accepted.
You are 26, mate. You are the younger generation.
When I was 15, people were split up into music genres. That was their core component that made up a big chunk of their personalities. Is the same thing happening nowadays with sexual orientations? I am aware of the fact that some people really are bi or gay, etc. I'm talking about only a segment of the LGBTQ community. I've never thought about it before, but you're right. When I was a teen, people were mostly grouped by genres and the stuff that came with it. How you dressed. Even the language, slang that you used. And there definitely is a weird thing with teenagers, especially ATM, where they will pose as a certain sexuality or gender, etc. the same way we had posers in our cliques who didn't really like the bands, etc. Something about us at that age. We love labels. Having a way to classify people keeps it simple for our lizard brains. Goth bad, punk good, or whatever. 21 versus 26 and younger generation. Corporate wants you to find the difference in this picture. Mostly you are experiencing the vocal minority. Most people don't make a big deal out of their sexuality. But the ones that do it loudly. I feel that this occurs with any group that for most of its existence has been ostracized or considered not in, for whatever reason. I think something people need to understand is that being LGBTQ+ is still not widely accepted, much less not mainstream. This isn't even bringing up the fact that this is a Western issue, if not just an American issue. Because if you say you're gay anywhere else on the planet, you're either being sent to prison or killed. It may seem that is not the case, due to the amount of stuff we see in media nowadays showing gay characters and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that humans are extraordinarily slow to adapt and integrate radical changes in our society like this. Being LGBTQ+ is at best accepted, at worst tolerated. At this moment in time, it's not anywhere near being mainstream. We only see Hollywood showing LGBTQ+ stuff in their narratives because most artists and creative types are left-leaning and as such are in tune with what society's issues are regarding how we treat different people. We're getting there though. The Expanse has a wonderful character called Drummer whose recent character arcs have revolved around her space gang, poly family. But it's not about the hardship of being poly or LGBTQ+. It's about the genuine relationships between these very obviously loving people being torn apart by political circumstances. But getting back to your question, a lot of young people today do not have a group they can identify with. Our government doesn't give a shit about anyone unless you got money. Our jobs want to pay us as little as possible and work us as much as possible, etc., etc., etc. So it's not surprising to me that groups like the one your friend encountered act the way they do, because they're trying to protect what little cohesive identity they have. It doesn't excuse them for being assholes, but it makes sense when you consider how little representation, in the way that matters, not just being tolerated, some groups really have. 1. Queer people have always broadcasted that they aren't straight. That's how you find other queer people. It's just that in the past people had to be more subtle due to fear of persecution. It's a sign of progress that people aren't hiding behind secret symbols and coded language and odd bits of clothing anymore. 2. Even though it is relatively acceptable nowadays to be queer, most people still go through a closeted phase. That period of hiding causes some people compensate for it after coming out. 3. I am not sure if people are obsessing over it or it is just becoming normalized. Maybe the fact that young people aren't staying in the closet very long plus people finally feeling comfortable coming out has created an enormous spike that seems like a fashion trend. 4. It's likely just a vocal minority plus confirmation bias. How would you know about all the queer people who aren't broadcasting their queerness? You would literally only know people like your friend who are close enough to come out to you and the people who come out to everyone.
As a gay dude, I'd
because y'all are too comfortable with the oppressive status quo. Societal change doesn't happen when you keep quiet about the things people abuse you over. Years of oppression probably does that. I feel like once people stop being bigots, it'll happen less. Generations before them were forced to pretend they were straight in fear of being ridiculed, prosecuted, attacked, or killed. So now that things such as that are less common, people are taking advantage of that which older generations couldn't do. Never thought I would see music genre being compared to sexuality. I guess some music is also illegal in some countries? Because all the other generations have been extremely obsessed with oppressing homosexuality. It's okay. I know this isn't a real question. This subreddit is just for bigots to play Tucker Carlson and ask extremely stupid, misleading questions so they can jack off about existence with other dumbfuck chuds.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.